countries in the world, including Vietnam. It has many different names, but I guess the most widely known ones are flan, creme caramel, or custard pudding. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you two different recipes of flan. The first one follows the French style and the second one is a Vietnamese version. And in addition to these recipes, I will also share my tips to help you to make a perfect flan, which not only tastes good but also looks good with a soft, smooth and silky texture. We start with preparing the molds. You can use any kinds of molds at any sizes, but ceramic molds are better than the metal ones. Grease the molds with butter, but only the side and not the bottom of the molds. When finished with the molds, we're gonna prepare the caramel sauce. Add into a small saucepan the sugar and enough water to cover the sugar. Then cook the sugar water on medium heat. We will see that after some minutes, the sauce starts boiling and gradually changes its color from light golden to golden and then golden brown. Remember that in the whole process, don't stir as it will make the sugar crystallized. When the sugar has a light golden brown color like in the video, quickly add lemon juice into the pan and gently shake the pan for the lemon juice to combine with the sugar sauce. Lemon juice is optional, but I highly recommend using it because it slows down the caramelizing process and prevents the caramel sauce from getting darker and bitter too fast. Then quickly pour this caramel sauce into the ramekins. As you can see, the caramel sauce turns dark very fast, so it's best to remove it from heat when its color is still light. Don't wait too long because it can turn very dark and bitter. Let the caramel sauce cool down and we go to prepare the custard mixture. Add into the pot the sugar, milk, and whipping cream. Cook this milk mixture on medium heat and keep stirring to have the sugar dissolve completely. When the milk is quite warm, let's say a bit warmer than the water you use to bath or shower, remove the pan from heat. Don't let the milk to be too hot and never bring it to a boil because it will ruin the protein in milk and it's not good for the custard as well. In a big bowl, add 3 eggs and 2 egg yolks. Then lightly whisk them with a wire whisk or a fork. Try to do this mixing gently because we don't want the eggs turned foamy. We only need to blend the yolks and the egg white together. You may notice that in this recipe I use more yolks and whites, so more precisely I use 5 egg yolks and 3 egg whites. The reason is that less egg whites gives the custard a softer, smoother and more silky mixture, and also the eggy smell is less. Then gradually add the warm milk mixture into this bowl and keep whisking constantly. Warm milk is better because it helps reduce the eggy smell in the pudding, but the milk shouldn't be too hot because it can cook the egg and make the mixture curdled. Then add the vanilla extract and mix well. Sieve this mixture with a fine mesh strainer. If there is an egg white left in the strainer, then lightly whisk to have it go through. Don't discard because this egg white is also a part of the recipe. We have 2 ways to cook this pudding. The first way is to steam them. For this method, first divide the egg mixture into the ramekins. Note that the caramel sauce should be firm or solid when you pour the egg mixture in, otherwise it will be blended with the egg mixture. Then remove any bubbles on the surface of the egg mixture. Then cover the ramekins with aluminum foil. Prepare a large pot and put a towel onto the bottom of the pot. Put the ramekins into the pot and pour boiling water in. The level of water should be at least as high as half the height of the ramekins. Then put the lid on and set the heat at the lowest setting and steam in about 25 to 30 minutes. There are some important notes in this step. First, aluminum foil helps to keep the surface of the flan soft. It also prevents water from the lid dripping down and ruining the surface of the flan. Second, the flan should be steamed on very low heat because if the heat is too high then the egg mixture will boil and the custard texture will not be smooth anymore. The ideal temperature of the water should be between 90 and 95 degrees C, which is just below its boiling point. Third, the steaming time may vary between 25 to 40 minutes depending on the size of the molds. Larger and taller molds will require longer time. Normally we can check after 20 to 25 minutes, and the way to check is to put a skewer into the center of the flan. If the skewer comes out slightly moist but not wet, and there's no liquid running out from the hole, then the flan is done. Also, the center of the flan should slightly jiggles when we shake the pot. If we go further than this point, then it's likely that the flan will become firmer and will lose a smooth and fine texture. When the flan is done, remove the pot from heat. Open the lid and remove all of the aluminum covers. Let the ramekins cool in water for about 10 to 15 minutes, then take them out. Let them cool down completely at room temperature, then put them in the fridge for at least 3 hours before serving. In addition to steaming, we can also bake these custard puddings. First, preheat the oven to 150 degrees C and boil a big kettle of water. Put a towel into a large tray, then put all of the molds into the pan. Make sure that the caramel sauce in the bottom of the molds has become solid. Divide the egg mixture into these molds and remove the bubbles on the surface. When the oven has reached 150 degrees C, put the tray of custard pudding into the oven. Then pour into this tray boiling water. There should be enough water to cover at least half of the height of the molds. Then bake this flan at 150 to 160 degrees C in about 30 to 40 minutes. Similar to the steaming method, we want to set the baking temperature low enough so that the custard pudding is cooked slowly. If the baking temperature goes too high, then the custard will boil and ruin the smooth texture of the flan. Baking time depends on the size of the molds. Bigger and taller molds require longer time. Usually we can check after about 25 to 30 minutes. The way to check is similar to the steaming method. We insert a skewer into the center of the flan, and if the skewer comes out clean, slightly moist but not wet, and no liquid running out from the flan, then the flan is ready. Also, if we try to shake the tray like this, then the center of the flan should still jiggles. When the flan is done, then take the tray out of the oven. Let the flan cool in the water for 10 to 15 minutes, then take them out. Then let them cool completely at room temperature before chilling them in the fridge for at least 3 hours before serving. When you want to serve the flan, prepare a bowl of hot water, then put the flan mold into hot water for about 15 to 20 seconds. At the same time, run the tip of a knife around the edge of the mold. The side of the ramekins has butter, so when we put the ramekins into hot water, this butter will melt and the flan will automatically pull away from the side of the ramekins. Make sure that don't leave flan mold in hot water too long because the flan may be broken. Next, put a plate on the mold and turn it upside down to get the flan. So here is our custard pudding. Ideally, it should have a very smooth, fine and silky texture inside out. Taste is creamy, rich and not too sweet. A very common problem with custard pudding is that it can have many dots or tiny holes like this. This is mainly because the flan was baked or steamed on too high heat and too long time. To avoid this, make sure that you follow the recipe exactly, and particularly these 2 points. First, always put a towel at the bottom of the pot or baking tray to soften the heat at the bottom. And second, bake the custard pudding at a low temperature and take the pudding out when its center is still jiggling. Lastly, if you don't have whipping cream, then you may want to try the Vietnamese version of this custard pudding. Instead of using sugar, milk and whipping cream, we can use condensed milk and milk. Put them into a pot and cook them till warm. The other steps are the same as the previous recipe. This Vietnamese version is slightly less creamy than the French ones. However, they still taste very nice. Just make sure that you use condensed milk instead of milk because it gives the custard a rich taste and silky texture. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial. I hope that the information was helpful for you. Printable recipes and troubleshooting for flan can be found on my blogs.